don't want to lose this idea, because I had this idea to explain this mentorship conversation a few months ago, and I lost the idea, and it was really frustrating. Also, as well, I'm in the prayer room, so if somebody comes in respectfully, I'll have to stop this stream. That's just the way it goes. So really, yeah, this is like, you know, when you're walking around and you get a good idea and you quickly write it down. You get a good business idea, or it could be anything, so you don't lose the idea. That's basically what I'm doing now on the stream for my workout. So I would say one of the most valuable lessons that I've learned in my life, and I realize the more I get older how valuable it is to everybody, is simply the ability to be able to stay as calm as I can whilst I am feeling frightened, anxious, basically anxiety, fight or flight, worry, panic. And there's obviously varying degrees of anxiety and worry. And when I look back at my whole life, there were certain events where that took place. And when I was younger, obviously, I weren't taught these things in school. Or no one. To be fair, the only person I'd have to say actually who did teach me eventually, who gave me advice, who did teach me, was my dad. But other than that, nobody taught me until obviously much later on. So when I was younger, when I was scared and nervous and anxious, I've said this story before, this is when I was a kid, when I was getting ready to go to school. Fond memories, but funny looking back now. You know, my mum would be like brushing my hair, getting me ready, she'd be putting my shirt on. That's how young I was. That was when I had more hair than I've got now, but I'm better looking now, I think. But anyway, my mum was getting me ready for school. All mums generally did that for their kids. Well, most of my friends' parents did. And when my mum was getting me ready, I was scared. I was nervous, really nervous. Like, I was suffering. I didn't want to go to school because I thought something bad's gonna happen. I was in fight or flight. And obviously, but as a kid, I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I felt, I was basically used the word nervous, right? It was nervous, but it was, I would say it's more severe than that. So, you know, my adrenaline was triggered and I was worried, and I was having like a mild panic attack, a mild one, but strong enough to the point where I was debilitated. I didn't want to go to school, and I was asking my mum, begging my mum, please mum, can you let me stay off school? And she was like, I can't. I was like, please, and then sometimes she would, but most times she couldn't, because she was like, I'm going to get in trouble, I can't, you know, you have to go to school, there's no, like, you're not sick. So I couldn't cope with the feelings. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand that those feelings were normal, that everyone feels that, has felt that. But obviously I didn't know that, so I felt like, what's going on? Like, well, something bad's happening to me. Out of my control. Like, what is going on? I was a kid, and I remember hating the feelings. Like, I hated feeling frightened. Hated it. It made me not like myself. It made me feel ashamed. It made me feel like I shouldn't be like this. Like, I would just be thinking, no one else. I couldn't understand my own emotions. Why I was feeling that way. Why I'd go from feeling normal and like happy, relaxed, and just calm, to all of a sudden just feeling not normal, like scared, under threat, sick, like nauseous, like needing to go to the toilet, diarrhea, not being able to eat, like feeling really moody, not being able to communicate properly. Like, why was I under so much stress? Of course, school triggered it. You know, I was a shy kid, I was an introvert, and I was afraid of people. I was afraid of getting bullied by people because it had happened, you know. I've said before, you know, my dad was hard on me growing up, so I was frightened of him. He was a bully at times. He was abusive. So I already had that trauma from my dad. It was starting to manifest, and then at school, you know, when you're young, you don't know everything, but you're quite aware. I was aware that I could get bullied at school, and it just felt intimidating. I just didn't want to go. Didn't want to deal with the stress of going to school and being around kids, the teachers, and the exams frightened me. So all this was triggering anxiety. Like, I don't want to be around groups of people. I don't want to get bullied. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to fail at school. What if I don't understand the lesson and everybody else gets it and I don't? So I had a lot of fears already. My mind was ticking over and I couldn't control my own mind. I didn't understand my own mind, then my emotions. So there's different departments of fear and anxiety and suffering. I like to break them down in full detail. So you've got the emotions, which I hated. That was probably the worst part. Definitely the emotions, the pit in the stomach, the nervousness, the sick feeling, the feeling of dread, of danger, of overwhelm, of just feeling like you're being, it feels like you're being attacked and plagued by a negative force on the emotional side. There's a feeling of the body is, you feel sick. You want it to go away, and the more you want it to go away, the more it gets worse. So there's that. Then there's the mental side where there's a lot of mental stress. There's a lot of my head, a lot of negative thoughts coming at you, attacking you inside, threats, what ifs, this something bad's gonna happen, what if this happens? So you got that going on, so your head's hurting, you've got stomach pain, and then there's the two together, and then there's the stress of all of it. So no one taught me how to deal with fight or flight, and no one taught me until I mentioned at some point my dad kind of gave me his advice, which was basically you've got to learn to calm down, which is true, but at the time that wasn't easy to apply. It just sounded too simple, but it is true. Basically what he said, you got to learn to, you're going to feel that, but calm down. But that came a lot later on. I had to go through a lot of suffering to get to that conversation with my dad, a lot of bottling it up. At the time, I didn't feel comfortable to say that to my dad. I felt scared. And that was another thing as well. It was the fear of admitting that I felt scared. So it's like you're trapped. The only person I could say it to that I felt comfortable was my mum. She was really good, very empathetic, very caring with it. But she couldn't take that feeling away fully. She could ease it. My mum, was caring, a hug. It's going to be all right. I understand that sort of thing, what a mum would do, but she couldn't get inside me and switch my fight or flight off. So I just had to kind of really struggle through it and just suffer it, and then it would kind of ease up as school went on, and I realised that, I didn't die, and no one come to get me. Well, sometimes I did get bullied, but generally I just had to tough it out. Some days were hell, some days were a bit easier. But even after school, I still didn't cope with it because I didn't understand. When you don't understand the enemy, you can't really beat it until you get an understanding. Then you're scared of it more. So, so that's the first experience where I remember suffering with fear and anxiety as a child and not being able to deal with it properly, and telling myself that I'm a coward and judging and making it worse. It didn't end there. That was just sorry, just trying to get a comfortable seat. Hopefully no one comes in so I can continue. Not too long and I've got my workout. So that was my first experience with dealing with fear and not liking that whole experience. The whole sort of, it feels like it's forever, but it's usually for, it could be half an hour, 10, 20 minutes, but time kind of distorts when you're really frightened. A minute of terror can feel like an hour, or 10 minutes can feel like half the day. So, it continued in my life. It held me back. So any time I was in a situation in life, any time, for example, if I was going to read something out in front of the class, I couldn't do it because I feel that feeling coming and go, no, I don't want that feeling. I don't want to suffer. It's painful. It's actually painful until you sort of come to terms and understand it and don't judge yourself and understand that every single human being feels it the same way we all do. Many people lie about it. That's what I learned on my journey. That's what people do. People lie a lot, right? Now I can deal with that, great. Many people today are amazing. They're so honest about it. A lot of the people that I admire, anybody, don't have to be famous, and they actually admit it, and it makes them strong, and then they do something about it. But back in my day, no one really admitted it. I was the only one that I knew that admitted it, because that's just how I was. I was under too much stress. I had to get some help, relief. And some people deal with it a lot better than other people. These are all the truths that I studied, 40-year study with this whole journey of fear and anxiety and courage, and how to deal with it better, live a better life, be a better person, and be more transparent with the whole dialogue. So it wasn't just the struggle with fear and anxiety, which it was, but it was the confidence and the courage to not care what people think, other people, which is ridiculous really, because why would you care what another human being thought about you admitting that you feel frightened and fear when they feel the same thing? But people do that, you know. We're all a bit unusual in that way. It would be like someone making fun of someone because they have to go to the lavatory, they have to go to the toilet, and saying, oh, that's dirty, or you go to the toilet, but it's like, well, so do you. What are you talking about? You're judging yourself. You know, it's so unintelligent. But, you know, people do that. That's how people feel. They bully and they feel better than other people because they feel insecure. So it's like, oh, he's scared. Oh, he's a coward. I'm not. But it's like, well, you're scared too. You're a coward somewhere in your life. And usually people that are really brave and good at managing fear, they don't judge other people like that. They've got humility, which I've got. I've been humbled many times, so they actually lift other people up. That's what a good leader does, a good man or woman or a good person. You know, they don't condemn someone who's scared, they help them. That's what you know, that's what a decent person does. So all this dialogue was all relevant to my journey, and up until this point now, I love it. I love talking about it. Before I was deeply ashamed of myself for having fear and struggling. Now I'm not, because I faced it thousands of times, and it's my teaching. It's how I help other people to move forward. So the honesty was missing when I was growing up. So obviously, if people don't speak about it and they don't make it normal, which it is, then you think it's not normal, something's wrong with you. Because I didn't have the education, because people around me were not honest and forthright. Now we live in a different time, which is amazing. We've got people like David Goggins, who will come on a podcast show on any video, and he will not hide anything and say, these are all my fears, these are all my issues, these are all my deep insecurities, and what are you going to say about it? I don't care, because I live an amazing life, and I'm encouraging people. And all of you that are criticizing me are just cowards, and you're just nasty. But I understand you, because I understand the mind of a critic, because I've been one and I've changed. You can change too. So you're just, you know, projecting what you're ashamed of yourself and not looking at, and I'm not ashamed anymore. That's how we transformed his life. Many people, not just Goggins, there's loads now. Loads, it's brilliant, I love it. I wish it was like that, well, no regrets, but I kind of wish it was like that when I was younger, because I wouldn't have suffered so much, because David Goggins would have said, you know, stay hard, it's normal. What are you going to do about it? Face it, or we all feel it. There's no shame in it. So it was the shame of feeling scared. That's what I suffered for so many years. I had so much confidence. I had a lot of potential, a lot of ability, but I didn't show it. I didn't go out and live my best life for a long time because I was ashamed of feeling scared. I almost laugh at it now. Then you've got Mike Tyson on a podcast show saying, man, well, yeah, I'm being humble. Everyone says I'm great. I achieved some great things in boxing. I had a great mentor. I worked really hard. But the truth is, I was terrified deep down. I just learned to hide it or use it or scare my opponent, put more fear in my opponent. So he would break and I would beat him, mentally, emotionally, and physically. But I was scared nonetheless. I was terrified. That takes so much courage. It's inspiring. Because if I and Mike Tyson feels frightened like everybody else does, then you're like, well, what? I'm free now. Now I can actually go. Now it's about we're going to get to that, learning to face it. So my journey, number one, was actually not being ashamed that I felt fear through educating myself and understanding that anyone who's living and breathing, that I would be worried about judging me and making me feel shame, has got the same. So it wouldn't make sense. Totally gone. So that was the first part. And then I had to also, I guess I did, I had to find forgiveness for people that I was really mad at and upset with for lying to me. You know, all throughout my life, because they were scared. They basically couldn't say, again, it's that whole ego thing, isn't it? It's, well, I don't want to admit that I've got some insecurities to you, because then that way I can't feel that I'm better than you. That's not good. I'm not into that stuff. I'm into treating people equally and building everyone up. We can all live a great life. So they didn't have the character to say that. They didn't have the character that a David Goggins has got, or a Mike Tyson, or a George St. Pierre. And that's why these people are very successful in every way in life, not just financially or fame. You know, what they've overcome, who they've inspired, the courage they've got to speak the truth from their journey and not hide. Beautiful, very beautiful. And that's why Les Brown inspired me. You know, he admitted the fear, but you know, you have to face it and learn. So obviously, with more time, compassion, understanding that no one's perfect, that we've all lied at some point. People didn't tell me because they were so frightened and ashamed themselves. They didn't want to face their own fears. So for me, to change other people's lives, continue to do it, which I've always loved doing, always enjoyed it, even though it's challenging. For me to help people, even to this right now on this live stream, which I'm doing, to help men and women, especially those that got like a major anxiety disorder, right? Everyone's got fear, but some have got more anxiety and trauma than others. So for me to teach you how to do it the same way I've done it for myself, I have to admit that I'm just as frightened as you are, and I'm not better than you. But what is different from the old me is I've got a lot more courage now, and I've built new tools, and I've got a stronger mindset, and I know how to deal with it better. That's why I've achieved more and traveled more and socialized more, and I can talk like this. But when I was younger, I had a gift to speak. I had this in me as a kid, but I was terrified of speaking in case someone, and it sounds exaggerating, but I'm not lying. In my own mind, I thought someone might actually kill me. I might get stabbed or shot, because growing up around my area, those things did happen. So there was an exaggerated fear, which is unlikely, but there was also more the fear that if someone shouts at me or judges me, because my dad done that growing up, and he absolutely terrified me at that time as a kid. You know, the shame and the fear, and other people did it, family members, you know, bullies. So I was afraid to speak fully in case somebody criticized me, and that crept in and affected me because I was very, very sensitive as a kid growing up, which most people are deep down, but I was probably more sensitive than the average person. But that might not even be accurate, but I'll go with that, right? Humility. I was very sensitive, you know, and that's where my caring side comes from. That's where all my strength really comes from, contradictory to weakness, sensitivity. But I had a toughness as well that I got from my dad breaking me down growing up, and the good things that my dad done, the good things he done, the bad things that he done, the love of my mum, my family, my faith, my area. So a lot of my strength, if not all of it, come from being, I guess you could say, a broken person. Appreciate it, Frank. You too, brother. Peace to you, mate. So it's amazing education on fear and anxiety, and then this coffee's amazing. I love it when I find a good coffee. So my next point. So yes, so the first thing was not being ashamed. You lose the shame of being afraid when you realise that everyone feels it, even your, people that are my heroes growing up, even Bruce Lee, everybody, Manny Pacquiao, all of them, all the boxers, Joe Calzaghe, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tyson, Lennox Lewis, all of them, they all feel it, but they deal with it so well. They've got their mindset to an elite level, which anyone can do with practice, who really is willing to go for it and grow for it. So after that, it was about, now I had to go on a whole journey of, okay, I'm just speaking out loud. It was like, okay, Jonathan, well, now you know the truth. Now you know that many people lied to you. They lie. They do feel fear the same way you do. They're no different, better or different. But what are you going to do about it now? You've got a choice now. You don't have to. No one's going to know. you're not expected to live an extraordinary life anyway. I'm expected to be a loser, according to most people growing up. I'm expected to be on drugs. I'm expected to be in prison. I'm expected to be on welfare for the rest of my life. I'm expected to, this is what, I didn't say these things, this is what people said to me and put me down. I'm expected to get a regular job, and there's nothing wrong with a regular job, but that wasn't my dream. And it's not nice for people to tell you what you're worth when it's not down to them. They're not God, we're all people. So based on that, it was like expectations were very, very low of me. So no one really expected me to go and be brave and do things that were beyond the expectations of my capabilities, other people's opinion of me. So I had a choice. It was, well, this feeling isn't still a nice feeling. It's not a feeling I particularly wake up every morning and think, I'm really looking forward to feeling terrified and anxious and like I'm going to go into a boxing ring and fight. There was an opportunity. Do I want to learn? Do I want to grow? Do I want to get more courageous? Not about getting less afraid, it's about getting more courageous, because you can't get rid of fear fully. I mean, you can get rid of it in periods, which is great. You can do that through praying. You can do it through talking, what I'm doing now. This is a mentorship talk. This is motivational. This is honest. It's beautiful. It's brave. It's vulnerable. I can calm someone. I calm a client down who's terrified in any area of his life by talking to him in this manner, from my authentic personality, from who I am as a person, how God's made me to be, and the love and the strength. And we've all got that, our own unique voice. So you can calm your fear or remove it for a while, or you can do a boxing workout or whatever, something positive. So you can get rid of it, but you're not going to get rid of it forever. When we die, that's another story, right? That's another story for another. But whilst we're on earth, we're human. We need to go to the toilet. You know, we need to eat. We need to sleep. We get scared. We have a built-in mechanism to protect us, so it serves a good purpose. So you're not going to get rid of it fully, but you can get rid of it in periods. Even better, you can learn to live with it. You can develop a mindset. You can develop a heart set. You can develop a spirit that has the strength to put it in a folder and deal with it better. And that's the difference. And I remember I said it. I'm going to give myself credit. I said this many times in my own knowledge. Mike Tyson said it. Teddy Atlas said it. Many have said it. David Goggins has said it. George St. Pierre said it. Some of you might have said it. I hope that you've said it. The difference between being successful in life for anybody, in any walk of life, it doesn't matter who you are, what you want to achieve, what your gender is, man or woman, whatever. The difference is your ability to manage your fear. Truth. So when I couldn't manage my fear, I couldn't make any money. I couldn't do live streams. I couldn't get a relationship. I couldn't help other people. I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't live properly and function because I didn't have the skills at the time to manage my fears and anxieties and develop my courage, my character, my discipline. But once I learned, I changed my life. I started to teach that. So those that learn to manage their fear and anxiety and their emotions can do better in life. And that's a fact, which is inspiring. It is a choice, even though it's a difficult one for everybody, me included still. So, you did a great job today. So this is an important dialogue, and this is what it's about when you're on your own. This is how I prepare my clients. You've got to learn when that dialogue comes in, the fearful one, the uncertain one, the fight or flight. It's a challenging dialogue. And it's a mental bully that comes on. It comes on to all of us. It's called life and fear and anxiety. It can come on any time. Your finances can bring it on. Your relationships can bring it on. Your health can bring it on. The care and love for your family, your friends, whoever, your faith, that can bring it on. Sometimes you don't know where it comes from. It's unconscious. We're human. We've got feelings. We're feeling fine. We're feeling great. All of a sudden, fear and anxiety comes on. Boom, triggered. So when that comes on, the dialogue comes with it, the threat, the worry, the emotions have a dialogue, and the dialogue have emotions. This is all the biomechanics and the biology of fear, fight or flight, anxiety. I've done my studies, I've lived this for 40 years. And I failed at and succeeded. So every angle, and I've been ashamed of it, and I've not been ashamed of it. And I've helped a lot of clients. I don't even know the number. I go to say hundreds, it's more than that, thousands, I don't know how many. I've taught them the tools and the skills to better manage fear and anxiety so they can live a better life. I'm doing that right now on the stream, it's a pleasure. So, another part of my life, as I got a bit older, I got a bit braver. Actually, and I've got to share this. Whether it was right or wrong, make of it what you will, right? But when I was younger, when I got bullied, we lived in a different time, you've got to remember, right? Things were different. I grew up in a council estate, so, you know, I didn't go to a private school or grow up, you know, in a rich family where things are different. You know, classes and cultures have different ways of dealing with things, and that is a fact. So in my culture growing up, if someone had a problem with you amongst men, especially on the estate, then you sorted it out pretty much like what the Irish travellers do. That was the same mentality that I was brought up on. My dad brought me up and family never to bully anybody, but don't let people bully you, right? So old school values. And I didn't like fighting. As you can probably sense, I wasn't that type of person. I was a sensitive, caring, soft person who didn't like trouble, did not like fighting. I hated it, hated fighting. I hated seeing people get hurt. I saw it a lot, and I didn't like being hurt either. I didn't like confrontation, hated it, absolutely didn't like it. Would do anything to diffuse a fearful situation of fighting. I didn't like fighting, that's why I got bullied a lot to begin with, because I was seen as soft and a target for bullies and a weak person, until things changed a bit. So when I come home, my dad would say, "What's wrong?" I say, "Nothing." He goes, "Something's wrong. I can see it on your face. Someone hit you?" And I'll be like, "No, nothing." And then I might start crying, saying, "Yeah, this kid bullied me, took my money or threatened me." And my dad would be like, "Right." And I remember this is funny that my jacket's here. Good, you know. He'd be like, "Get your jacket on." And I would literally be in panic because I knew what he meant. He's basically, my dad's like, we've got to go and fight him. Got to sort it out like a man. That's how it was. My dad wasn't the only one. That's how most people's parents were like that. It was tough in that way, you know. It was very, very tough. Maybe if you go to other countries, they would just be like, they might laugh at that and be like, "That's nothing," right? We could all say that. Well, in other countries, some of the men and the women, if you go, for example, Eastern Europe, like Russia, Ukraine, all those sort of countries, the way that the men are brought up they're a lot tougher than we are. You know, that's just a fact. Generally, if you look at the way the mindset of the fighters, Usyk, Lomachenko, you know, even Mike Tyson said it one day. He predicted. He said, in the future, a lot of the Eastern European fighters are going to dominate boxing. And the guy interviewed him was like shocked. He was like, "Why did you say that, Mike?" And he said, because they're hungry. They grow up struggling, and they train like animals. Anyway, my point being, back to my point. So my dad would be like, "Get your jacket on." So this is an analogy. So when I would get my jacket, I'm going to actually get it on now. I've got to do my workout. So when I put my jacket on, I would know what was coming. Like that, putting my jacket on would just terrify me, because my dad would put his jacket on, I'd put mine on, and it'd be like, "Right, we got to go now." And I am in agony of fear, because now I'm going to go and fight this bully that's bullied me in front of my dad and everyone around the area, and I don't want to lose in front of my dad. I don't want to be embarrassed. Don't let my dad down, and I don't want to lose in front of all the kids, the girls and the guys. I've got to go and fight, and I'm not really a fighter. I'm not really built that way. And deep down, you know, my dad knows it. So I'm like, I'm not confident that I can win this fight, and I don't even want to do it. I just want to get out of this feeling. I'm terrified. I'm feeling sick with fear and anxiety. But I have to do it. I've got no choice. My mum would have said no. She would not have agreed with that with my dad. But sometimes my mum was out at work or whatever. or at my nan's. So, you know, I couldn't disagree with my dad. And I kind of felt like, you know, my dad's, in his mind, he's doing the right thing. He's trying to do his best. That's what he's been taught. And there's a lot of positives from it. And you could look at it and say it's wrong. I can see both points. Anyway, so we go out, and I'm just praying that we don't. I'm praying that we don't find the person that bullied me, because I don't want to fight him, especially in front of my dad. I'd rather fight in just me and him. And then if I lose, I don't lose in front of my dad or the whole area. But we find him several times, and I've got to fight him in front of my dad, in front of big groups of people. And I get beat. I get beaten. I lose in front of my dad. It's humiliating, but it made me strong for today, because I had to get humiliated to come back and not be as scared of that anymore, because I've been through it. When you've been beaten in a fight and humiliated and embarrassed and ashamed, and you've literally just been like humiliated, that's how I felt. I don't feel that way anymore. I actually respect myself, and that insecurity has made me strong. But back then I didn't feel that way. I was a kid, I was a teenager, and I got beaten by another kid a bit younger than me in front of my dad and the whole area. But I got respected around the whole area because I was the only person who had the courage to stand up to this kid at the time who was making everyone's life hell, the guys and the girls. So he never bullied me after that. Thank God none of us got majorly hurt. You know, he gave me, I fought, I gave my best, but he won. He was a better man. He was good, he was calm, he was good, he was a good fighter. And then my dad said, right, shake hands, never come near my son again, and you don't, and we did, and we respected that. We never ever fought. You know, and now I've got nothing but love for him. He would be a grown man now. Hopefully he's doing well in his life. I'm 40 years of age, he'd be 39. But my point of the story is I had to face terrifying fear, and at the time I didn't know later on it was going to make me a stronger person. I'd go on to be doing what I'm doing now. Those experiences definitely played a part in me doing what I love, which is mentoring, teaching, sharing my story, my whole faith journey. Obviously having to change. I was a good person growing up, but I'd done things that were, you know, we all do things that we're not proud of. You know, we make mistakes, we get in trouble, take drugs, you know, we do silly things like that. Sell drugs, go down the wrong path, be insecure, be negative. I did all those things. I had to learn and change, like we all do if we want to be a better person. So that experience taught me a lot, especially about how to lose. Bruce Lee said that, you know, we're always trying to win, but we never really want to learn the art of dying, of defeat. And I understand what he means by that now. The humility, the strength, the knowledge, the faith that you get from that is hard to explain until you've got it and experienced it. But we all get humbled at some point, right? We all lose in life. No one wins all the time. Now, I know some people say, well, Mayweather always won, and he did always win in the ring, and so did Joe Calzaghe, undefeated. Mayweather, Joe Calzaghe, Rocky Marciano, boxers that never lost in the pros. Who else is there? Is there someone else so far? You've got Terence Crawford, but he's still going. I can't see Terence Crawford getting beat. You never know, but so far. So you've got a select few fighters that never lost. But in life, you lose. You know, we die. We lose people close to us that we love. We have setbacks in other areas. So no one's undefeated in every area of life. But it's how you come back, who you are as a person, what you learn. This is a good talk, isn't it? Didn't plan it. So that was an experience, and that you know, I had to get past that. So that experience I just described, when I got my dad made me have a fight with a bully around my area, one-on-one fist fight, and he beat me. He won the fight, but I won the war. I got respect. I stopped him from bullying all the kids. He stopped bullying me. Great, and we thank God none of us come out. We come out alive. A few bumps and bruises, and we shook hands, and that was it. So moving on later on, of course, life goes on. What other situations? So obviously, boxing. When I joined the boxing gym, I still had a lot of fears and demons that I wanted to get past. I was still on this journey of trying to fix myself, because I was still broken from my childhood. And not just that, it's that obviously I love boxing. I wanted to live a positive life in my 20s. I didn't want to do drugs anymore and sell drugs. I didn't want to risk going to prison and, you know, get into robberies. Some of my friends were doing that, and I didn't want that life anymore. I knew that I didn't want that. I wanted to live a better life. And Bruce Lee inspired me. You know, my dad hurt me a lot growing up, but he also inspired me as well. Taught me the basics of how to fight and stuff. And Bruce Lee motivated me. All these people helped me. So I did weight training, and then I went down the boxing gym. And of course, I was frightened, and I'm so grateful. The boxers and the training taught me once again what my dad was installing and teaching me in life: how to manage fear and anxiety better by facing it consistently, learning, training the mind, the body, and the soul. And you train the mind and the body and the soul. Well, there's several ways you can do it, but one of the obvious ways is through exercise. So when you're exercising on the bag every week, training your butt off, breaking the sweat, you know, training, you're strengthening your mind. Your mind is the thing that you need to be calm in fearful situations, and you're strengthening your whole emotional system, mind, body, soul, all of your spirit. It's all getting trained. So you do it through that when you're doing the running, mind, body, soul, spirit, all the tools you need to conquer fear, or better manage it, not be ashamed of it, work with it, overcome it, move on until it comes back again. The sparring is obviously the best. That's the real stuff, the fighting. People say sparring is not fighting. Well, I don't agree. It is fighting. It's fighting under different circumstances. Obviously, it's different. Sometimes when you're doing sparring, like a top fighter, someone like Tyson Fury or Mayweather is going to just not go as fully hard. They don't need to. They're that good. They're just going to work on things. So that's different. When they're in a fight, they're going to go full 100% and obviously under the pressure of the lights. But for the general person like me, who's not at that level, and that's not my journey, then sparring is a fight, because it was when I did it. It got hurt, busted nose. It was, you know, there's a referee there, gum shield, head guard, but it was sometimes harder than street fights I had. So hard sparring is hard sparring. Obviously, when you go soft sparring, then you can't really include that. You're still sparring, but it's just soft. So it depends on how hard you go. And most sparring I done was all out. It was all out, because most of the people I sparred with were amateurs, and you both got egos and you don't want to lose. I did spar with pros as well, but they took it easier on me, because they, you know, obviously they can hurt me. They're better than me, better level. So getting in the ring was back to being a kid again, being nervous to go to school. It was that feeling again, of going out on the estate having to fight one-on-one. But through experience, I got better at dealing with it. And that's why doing this talk today, which I really appreciate. The reason why, without being big-headed, but giving myself some credit, the reason why I can speak so well today on this live stream is because of all the training and the preparation I've had in my life. 40 years, maybe a bit less, right? I suppose you don't include when you're first born, but from the age of 10 upwards, I was facing challenging, fearful situations through life, through being on the council estate school, boxing in the amateurs, you know, dealing with people trying to rob me, bully me, and then eventually starting a business, public talks, teaching, mentoring, traveling, getting mentored. But all of it is preparation. So it makes this talk really, really beautiful. It makes me humble and grateful, because there was a time where I couldn't do this talk. I was too frightened and insecure. I didn't have the strength. I couldn't relax under pressure. So now I can relax under it. Of course, there's other fears in my life where I would be terrified, where I'm not experienced. It's not my area, and if I wanted to learn, I would humble myself and say, first thing I'd say is, well, I'm frightened to death. I want to learn. I'm nervous. Let's go. Teach me. Whoever's mentoring me, or if it's something different and I want to learn, I humble myself. So humility is important. I'm saying it today. I'm learning. Humbling yourself in the midst of facing fear makes you calmer. It takes away, it calms your pride down, and faith comes in as well. Always done that. Please God, don't leave me on my own. I'm terrified. Help me out a bit. I get the extra strength. If I need it, I will always ask. I'm not ashamed to say I'm proud. It's my belief in God, my faith. It's learning to prepare your mind before you go into battle, so to speak, before you go and do a public talk if you're scared, or a business meeting, which all people are until they get used to it. Now, the illusion, and I've said it, we've all done it, it's fine, it's not lying. When people say, I've mastered fear now, I'm at a good level, what it usually means is that they haven't gotten rid of fear fully, and I've not got rid of it fully either. But they've built up so much momentum, they've built so much discipline up, that even it feels right now that I don't have any fear, I'm fearless. But I am fearful. I felt anxiety when I got up this morning in my belly, but I managed it really well. Did my gratitude, and I'm here, like I've said in the teaching. So if you've taken action all the time, and if you're sparring every single week, it's going to give you, and it's great, you earned it, you deserve it. It's going to give you the illusion, the feeling that you're not scared anymore, because you've got used to it. You built up so much momentum. It's like riding a bike. If you're riding a bike every week, you're not going to be scared of it. You're not going to be overthinking. You're just going to ride the bike and be amazing at it. Whereas someone who hasn't done it for a while is going to be nervous and overthinking, and they're too self-conscious. So that's, and that's what I learned on my journey, and I've continued to teach. That's why I talk about consistency, commitment, momentum. I only work with clients that are committed to facing their fears consistently. Because if you don't do it consistently, then you don't get past it. You don't grow as a person. You can't go and excel and go and give a presentation at your university or for your business, or the day-to-day things. Get out of bed, pay your bills, all these things. And that's why this dialogue is important for people. And it's challenged the human species since time began, and it still challenges everybody, myself included. That's why it's one day at a time. So yeah, I've kind of given everything today. I wanted to do that. I wanted to give a lot of value today, so people could go away and change their life. Advice on how to sleep early. Yeah, I will do a video for you, but I will tell you now, intense training helps get rid of insomnia. I sleep like a baby now. I slept really well last night because I'm training hard. So basically, if you work hard in life, especially exercise, Julian, if you do running, either one, right? I give people a few options, so you don't have to do all of them. If you really train hard in the gym regularly, you would sleep better. That's it. That's what you got to do. That's what a lot of people are not doing. Because you don't always know, and you've asked me and I've told you. So, working hard really helps, because if you work hard, what happens? You get tired. When you come home, you fall asleep easier. So that helps. Now, if that doesn't work, then I think that's when you need to get some professional help, maybe. So you get some therapy, because that means you've got high levels of anxiety, or mentorship. It could be a case of doing a session with me. I could probably help you with that. And if I can't help you with that, then it would be a case where you would look for getting a professional in a different area to me, therapy or seeing a doctor. But I don't think it will get to that. And things like your diet, cleaning, but basically, yeah, training hard, tiring the mind out. The mind keeps you up at night when you don't tire it out and you don't calm it down. So an anxious mind is going to make it hard to get to sleep with. And then insomnia can be a result of that, because of the worry. And I would say also as well, you're worried about, we all got worries. What are you worried about? I know it's scary for people, even at me, write the worry down. It's probably you're worried about your finances, you're worried about your relationships, your health, the future. You're probably stressed about your past trauma. We all go through that. That's why I'm trying to help more people. Talk to someone about it. Don't be ashamed. You've done it today. Write it down. You'll start sleeping better. Practice gratitude. Try and be positive. All these things, but mainly training hard. Right, I'm going to start my workout now. I'm going to go and keep it at 45. Great talk today. I didn't even plan this. I just got the idea today and made a note of it for later on. This is probably the best video that I've ever done on fear and anxiety management to date. and I didn't plan it. It's probably why. So anyone can do it with practice, and I would say the last takeaway is it's not easy. I'm not going to say to people it's easy. It's not easy. It's not easy for me either still, but you can do it. That's why you value it. Learning how to be calm, relax, whilst being anxious. If you can do that, you already are doing great and successful. If you can't, that's still great because you're going to work at it, right? Everyone's a work in progress. If you can learn to be calm whilst being nervous, especially before obviously you go and do things. So before you go to work, you meet friends, you go to the gym, you do a presentation, you get on a plane. These are the things that I've learned as you can hear and feel, and heal, it's healing. I've done these in my life, throughout my life, 40-year journey, and I want to continue to share this. I hope I get more opportunities. At the moment, I'm failing to get on more podcast shows, but you know, you will fail your way to success because I've got a great story. It's related when I want to help more people and share this, my life story, and it's a continued journey. Every single day I'm facing my fears and helping other people because I want to live each day in gratitude. I did that today, so give thanks today. Yeah, thank you for all of you coming on, inspiring me to do this talk. So yeah, everyone can practice it, and I will do more videos explaining, but basically my daily discipline routine. All right, I'm going to enjoy my workout. Wow, a lot to process. Really appreciate it today, and I'll speak to all of you soon. All right, have a good day.